to Your Hometown Solutions. I'm your host, Jean Newell. I forgot who I was there for a second. I'm your host, Jean Newell with Waterview Realty, and we've got some great guests in the studio with me today. It's all about finding out what we can help you with any kind of problems and help you with your solutions to any of your home, finance, garden, garage, your real estate, anything. We are just the answers to any of your problems. So in the studios with me today is my co-host, Jonathan Lack. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Jean. We're going to have a good time today, aren't we?
Yes, we are, because we have one of our favorite people as a guest back on air with us, Adam Marrara. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Jean and John. Good to see you guys, and great to be back.
I love pronouncing your name, Adam Marrara.
I like to hear it, too.
It's good. And Adam is a wonderful inspector here in Brevard County with Florida Home Inspection Bureau. Boy, I just can't seem to get the lips working today. Adam, let's talk about inspections and the reason why it's so important to have a home inspected, especially if you're buying a home, and many times when you're selling it as well. I'm going to give you the mic, and you take it and run with it.
All right. It's obviously your home, for most people, is your largest investment in your life. Whether you're buying or selling, or whether you are, just been in your home for a while, you need an expert opinion to come in with a trained eye to give you the update as far as the condition, functionality, safety of your structure, of every component of your home, etc. But the majority of the business we do is for buyers and sellers in the residential real estate market and commercial real estate markets. From a buyer's standpoint, it's extremely important to have an inspection done because that's really your insurance as to what you're buying. It is your big picture to let you know the function, the condition, and safety of what you are purchasing. The biggest things that I can say is when we come onto site, we do a complete inspection of every major and minor component of the property for our buyers and our sellers. So we'll inspect your interior and exterior HVAC system, your plumbing, your electric, your roof, your doors, your windows, overall structure of the property, including foundation, and then over 400 items within the home are inspected. The important part from the buyer's standpoint is it allows you to negotiate either a better price, negotiate for repairs or remediation of any issues that we find, and allows you, like I said before, to grasp the bigger picture and to know exactly what you're buying and what you're putting your money into. Well,
a lot of people don't realize, and I want Jonathan to comment on this, that our contracts, which Jonathan Lack is actually one of the teachers or presents seminars at the Board of Realtors to help all the 4,000 licensed real estate agents here in Brevard County understand our contracts. We have an as-is contract, which means that they're buying it as is, but they do have the option to have it inspected. You want to elaborate a little bit on that, Jonathan, and how that works?
Sure, Gene. There's primarily two different types of contracts. Back before the original housing bubble and then the burst of the bubble back in 03, 04, 05, and then subsequently, the standard contract actually had a repair provision, and it still does. The standard contract has a repair provision such that the buyer has the right to have the property inspected. The seller warrants many of the items will be working, and if the inspection reveals any defects, the seller has an obligation up to a contractual limit, usually 1 or 1.5% of the purchase price, but again, that's negotiable, to an obligation to make the repairs. But what happened when the market went crazy up and then went crazy down, the other type of contract, which is called an as-is contract, sometimes you'll see a standard contract with a rider, other times you'll see an as-is contract without getting too technical on the legalese here. The as-is contract says that the buyer is buying the property in its current as-is condition and the seller is making no warranties as to its condition or the functionality of any of the items. However, it does include a right of inspection. So the buyer has typically, the standard contract has the default of 15 days. Again, that can be negotiated often down to 10 to inspect the property to confirm that it is in acceptable condition. The way it's often used is you'll enter into a contract for a purchase price, let's say $100,000. Based on your visual inspection of the property. But then you hire someone like Adam, and he comes through and says, well, visually it looks great, but when you start looking behind the walls or under the toilets or under the sinks, all of a sudden you see a variety of errors or problems. And that buyer's right under the as-is contract would be to go back to the seller and say, look, I offered you the $100,000, but I didn't realize there were this many repairs to be made, and they have an opportunity to either renegotiate or cancel. The seller does not have an obligation to make those repairs as with the regular contract, but the standard contract being used in today's market is the as-is contract, so it's critically important that after you negotiate your price, you promptly order your inspection to make sure that there's nothing hiding under the woodwork, as it were.
And that's a great point, John, actually. And that's something we recommend to everybody, not only our clients, whether you choose our inspection company, Florida Home Inspection Bureau, or another company. Once you have that contract signed, it's important to get your home inspection scheduled for as soon as possible thereafter. That way you can have time in that 15-day window or 10-day window, whatever's negotiated, to renegotiate, to have the seller mitigate any problems or make any repairs that you're requesting, and gives you enough time to possibly go out and have us re-inspect if need be. So I definitely agree with you.
And another point on that, again, to your situation, Adam, the market at the moment is very good. We have a low inventory, which means we have quick sales and we have people like looking. I just had a deal over the weekend where we had multiple bid offers and we had to select one. And the one we picked is the one who was willing to close. It was a highest and best value, but also a quickest closing. And one of the things that's going to be put into the contract is a shorter inspection period. If you want to buy this property, get out there and inspect it now. And if you choose not to buy it, that's great. We have other people lined up to take your place. So it's important that you order the inspection promptly. And then, Adam, please confirm with me, but I'm assuming your schedule is fairly crowded because the market is good.
The market is good. We do have multiple inspectors, so we try and be as flexible with our scheduling as possible. Right now, we're at about 48 to 72 hours of lead time. So if you call us today, we can probably fit you in for Friday or Monday of the following week, basically. Right. But yeah, absolutely.
And then you want to have an opportunity to review that inspection. So if you're only given 10 days, and again, even if it's 15 days, you want to get that inspection as soon as possible. Review it with both your inspector and any of your advisors, your realtor. Hopefully you have a good real estate agent who can help you understand the important ones and not.
Well, sometimes we even advise that at least the listing or the selling agent be there when the inspection's going on, because that way we kind of get an update on what's going on, and if there's something that we can add to the inspection or something that we would like you to, we want to point out to you, we're there as well. I want to make sure that you have Adam's contact information. It's Adam Marrara with Florida Home Inspection Bureau. Let the people know how they can get in touch with you directly, or do you want them to go to the website? And I see you can schedule your own appointment right there on the website.
You can schedule your own appointment on the website. The best way to contact us, though, is just to give us a call direct, which is 321-313-3190 when we're not in the office. That will actually ring directly to my cell phone. The only time we typically don't answer is if we're on a roof or in an attic, but if you leave us a message, we'll go ahead and give you a call back.
I know. And I noticed that you're on the Home Advisor.
Yes.
You have 5 stars. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. It's our online and overall reputation, obviously, is extremely important to us, and it's something we take great pride in. So if you go on a site like Home Advisor, where they have multiple contractors and tradesmen, people that can provide assistance for people who own homes, you'll find a listing of, different inspectors, etc. We're one of the top rated inspectors in Central Florida. If you take a look at Home Advisor, you'll be able to see some past reviews from clients, etc. The nice thing about that is it doesn't allow me to have to brag about myself.
Yes,
well, it allows my clients to do it all for us.
We want to brag for you. I noticed on your website, I believe it was on your website, you have a lot of information from various sources and media sources on inspectors and what to look for. And different things. This caught my eye. It says, guess what's the number one real estate deal killer? Home inspections. Nearly 1/3 of all terminated real estate contracts crash and burn because of an inspection result. And that's not the reason why necessarily that you do the inspections. You're hired by that buyer to make sure whatever they're paying for that house, there's not some hidden flaw that maybe the seller didn't know either.
You know, it's funny you bring that up. Most people think that when you're hiring a home inspector, it's because you're buying a home. One of the advantages to hiring a home inspector when you are selling a home, and it's something that a lot of people don't think of, is being able to have all the information about that property. Not only that, as the seller, but to be able to share that information, most importantly, with your realtor. You've hired your realtor to negotiate on your best behalf, and I always find it very crazy to me that somebody will say, realtor, sell my house, sell it at the highest possible price, negotiate the best possible terms, market the heck out of this property. But
you don't really know too much about it.
The next phone call I want from you is it's sold. I really don't want to hear anything else.
Yes.
The only information I'm giving you is what's on the county website.
Exactly.
And it's like, look, we have a lot of military families here in the county. If you were a general, would you send your troops to battle with ammo or without ammo?
Right.
Your realtor is negotiating on your best behalf, and it does them a disservice to not provide them with all the information possible. Because you better believe when your buyer comes back to that table with my inspection report that is a mile long and has a list of things that they want corrected, the only recourse a realtor who does not have that information has is for them to say, okay, let me check with my client to see if they'll make these fixes, or let me check with my client to see what type of price concession we're going to give you.
Right.
If you have all of this information, you know that your house needs a new roof, you know the AC is shot, you know you've got a leak under the kitchen sink and you need some plumbing work. The best thing about that is you can price the house appropriately, and your realtor also has that information. So when they're sitting at the negotiating table, you become the driver. Right. You are in the seat of power, because when that buyer says, I have, a report that says I need a new roof, I need plumbing work, yada, 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 you can say, actually, we have a report also that says the same thing. We knew about it. That's why we priced the house appropriately. Go ahead and make your best offer. Right. There is no price concession. There is no going back to my seller. You already have that information available. Exactly. So it's very valuable as a seller to
and even people that buy cars always say, well, before I buy you should have your your car inspected a little bit from your mechanic. So you can say to someone, I just had a 5-point inspection and I know what this car is, because they're going to want to take it to their mechanic.
And you can even provide them, as a seller, you can provide our report to a potential buyer. Now, that potential buyer may choose to have an independent inspector come and inspect, which is probably what I would recommend regardless. But it does allow you some credibility, and you've taken that extra step. It does show a pride of ownership and an interest in getting that property sold.
Exactly. Well, many of the things that are on your report, and there's several hundred things that you have to cover, and you're going to put yes or no or check or make sense. Even a brand new house is not going to, you're going to find not necessarily flaws, but you're going to make recommendations, or something maybe isn't, they don't have a outlet cover. I mean, it can be minor things, but the point is it shows that you have been in every crevice of that house to see it. And that makes a buyer, if they see that ahead of time, at least this is my opinion, they see that ahead of time right on the counter. Okay, we found this problem, but we took care of it.
Yes. And
I've seen sales where people say, oh, it was inspected for a home inspection, and the agent turns to their buyer and they say, you can get an inspection, but why get another one? We've already had it inspected, and they know what it is. Especially you got a 5-star rating, so you are Johnny come lately here. You've been in the business a while. Wasn't your background also in mortgages, if I remember correctly?
Actually, in a previous life, I used to run the Wells Fargo Wholesale Construction Lending Department on the Space Coast here. And it was actually one of the most successful construction lending territories in the entire southeast region of the United States for Wells Fargo.
Well, I have a question I wanted to ask right here on air. I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
So when you do an inspection and it's going to be a VA loan or an FHA loan, they always want to know how many more years are left on the roof. Is that an inspector's opinion, or are you just going by, okay, it's a 25-year shingle and it's a 20-year-old roof, so it's 5 years left? Or are you actually determining that by your site?
There's a little bit of both there. One of the things that we do